Hey guys, welcome to TST Garage. It is 2019. We've got ourselves a 2019 Yamaha YZF R3 in the shop. Yamaha is still shipping these bikes with these huge fenders on the back with these pumpkin style signals. And we are here to install a Fender Eliminator on there that will make the whole tail end of this bike sleek, sexy, and race bike-like. Now, Yamaha has changed a lot of the styling about this bike up front from the previous generation bike, but in the rear, the bike remains mostly unchanged. So our first generation 2015 and up Yamaha R3 Fender Eliminator from TST Industries remains unchanged as well. And the installation procedure is essentially the same. We'll show you how to hook this thing up to this bike in this video in detail, but we will skip some of the explanation that we've already provided in some of these videos that we will link for you guys in this video. We have a feature video, we have a comparison video where we've taken 3 other competing brands of Fender Eliminator and stacked them side by side and basically just listed off all the parameters of how these things were designed for your consideration so you can make the best choice based on all the information available to you. Like I said, I'm not going to get into a lot of the explanation. I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the aspects of our Fender Eliminator system. First of all, fender comes off, leaves a void in the back of the bike. We have a really nice injection molded undertail closeout that fits in there and continues the body lines of the bike as if there was nothing missing there. This provides a base for the attachment of our 2 different style Fender Eliminator brackets. So one of our options here is the standard fixed angle bracket. It is a nice, simple, cost-effective means for hanging your license plate on this setup, but it doesn't really go beyond that. Our upgraded adjustable version is made of billet aluminum. It is CNC machined, it is anodized, and it gives you the ability to adjust the final hanging angle of your license plate. All of the hardware that you'll need to mount this system to your bike is included, so no worries there. This is sort of an a la carte system where we'll sell you one of these packages and then you can further customize it by including a license plate light, signal kits, integrated taillight. We have a bunch of these setups that are available to you in package deals, so I highly encourage you to see tstindustries.com for all the details. Watch the videos that we've produced to explain all of these packaging options, and then you can make your decision and make your purchase. In this video, I will be installing the adjustable version because it is a little bit more involved. If you guys want help with how to mount this guy, we do have a video showing the installation on the 2015 and up bike, so I highly encourage you to watch that video before starting your installation. Enough talking, let's get wrenching. I'm really excited to get this thing on there and show you guys how it looks. So before we jump onto the bike and start the disassembly of the OEM components, I want to pre-assemble this kit so that it's really easy just to throw it on the bike, fasten it, and we'll be good to go. Our adjustable Fender Eliminator setup comes with these components and this hardware. Our undertail setup comes with all of this hardware. We will empty this kit. Now, like I said in the intro, this does provide a base for multiple different setups, so we do have some redundant hardware in here. These 2 nuts will not be used. We'll put them to the side, and these 2 screws will be used in conjunction with these components to fasten the setup onto the undertail. These can go to the side for now. They will be used in the final mounting to the bike. We'll make use of these 2 washers in our assembly here, so let's get that going. Our flat bracket that mounts the license plate onto the bike gets installed onto these 2 brackets that are side specific. We will use these countersunk screws through the middle holes, through these slots, and cap that off with these 2 lock nuts from the rear. So let's do that now. This screw requires a 3mm Allen wrench, and the nut requires an 8mm box or open-ended wrench. What I like to do is get these snug but not completely tight. That enables adjustability for the final adjustment when the whole kit's on the bike. As you can see here, I can still move this around but it's not so loose that it'll wobble all over the place. All right, now that we have this pre-configured, we can install this assembly onto these hinge bosses. If you can see, they do have a swooping geometry to them. The idea is to put the tighter side towards the rear of the bike. So we will install these on the L brackets like so. They do have a little shoulder sticking out that gets mated with the hole in the L bracket. That makes it concentric, effectively makes it into a hinge. We'll use one of the small washers here, and the M6 screws will fit in here. Now here is where I usually just make use of proper torque to tighten this down after I've put it onto the bike. If you choose to do so, you can go ahead and use some sort of a thread locking agent like this here. Just make sure you don't spill it onto plastic. Those agents typically have the ability to eat into the plastic and degrade it and make it much weaker. So that'll effectively destroy your undertail if you spill it on there. For this screw, I'm making use of a 4mm Allen. And then I'm just going to repeat the same procedure on the other side. Now that we have this assembly ready, we can go ahead and mate it to this component. We'll use a washer, one of the screws that we took out of the Undertail kit, pass it through on these two holes and get it threaded up in here. Again, you're screwing machine threads into machine threads. There's no other locking feature in there. So if you want to use a thread locking agent, make sure that it is a plastic safe thread locking compound. So this is looking pretty good here. I'm going to leave it this loose for now. The idea here is to tighten down all the way on these two screws and leave the rest loose. Once this is mounted to the bike, these remain inaccessible, but the rest you can still access, fine tune, adjust, and then finally lock it down. So I'm going to go ahead and use a 10mm open-ended wrench to hold my hinge boss parallel to the center axis of this setup and essentially the bike. I want to make sure that the two of these bosses are parallel so that my hinge action is preserved, and then tighten down on this connection. That looks good. That looks good. Hinge action is preserved, and we are ready to go onto the bike and start taking off the OEM parts. All right, so let's get the passenger seat off the bike. And we'll grab a 4mm Allen, take out these two fasteners. That will enable us to pry back this panel, take out the center tail panel, and we'll grab an 8mm socket, remove these two fasteners, and take out the driver's seat. Now we will need to take out this little tray here. This is done by resetting the centers of these two push fasteners and then pushing up, and then the tongue comes out. Now we have access to all the wiring and everything here. There is a protective sheath around your signal wires, so we will have to undo that, unwrap it. Now these two plugs, the gray and the black, are your signal plugs. We'll need to remove them from their mating harness plugs. These get routed under the relay box here, so we'll unseat it for now. We'll get these wires and connectors all the way to the back here. Your diagnostics plug needs to come out temporarily. Now you have one more wire here. This is your license plate light wire. remove that too. If you are mounting a license plate light to this vehicle with this assembly, then you will either make use of this plug, clipping some of that wire off and attaching that to your license plate light, or you can wire directly into here. I do like to retain some of this with the OEM plug. That really makes it nice and easy to plug and play whenever I need to remove any of these components down the line. All right, so now we have these 4 10mm nuts that will need to come out, and then the whole fender assembly will just come down. So switch to a 10mm socket. Now before I pull the last nut out of there, I like to support this with my hands so that it doesn't just drop off the bike and yank the wires. All right, that's out. I'm gonna retrieve that last nut. And now we're ready to assemble our TST Industries parts onto the bike. So we'll lift the bike up and resume from there. For the next step, we will need 4 of these directional spacers and 4 of these Plastite self-threading screws from the hardware kit. I'll insert the screw in each one of these, and these do have an arrow built into the top with a designation for the front of the bike. So in the end, they will need to be adjusted so that they're parallel with the center plane of the bike and then tightened down. We'll grab our pre-assembled Fender Eliminator setup, put it up into the void left behind by the fender, and start matching these screws into the bosses that receive the self-threading screws in the undertail. We'll make use of a Phillips screwdriver to do this. Now we don't tighten down right away, we just get them close enough so that the undertail doesn't drop off, and then progressively get all of them in. And the adjustment and tightening will be the last step here. All right, so now we'll need to adjust each one and tighten it down. We've built in slots for adjustment here. The idea is to place the front of the arrow and the F towards the front of the bike and parallel to the center plane of the bike. Now please note, you are threading in a Plastite screw into a plastic boss. The screw is meant to fasten into a plastic boss and preload itself to prevent it from backing out due to vibration. Do not over tighten these because you will likely damage the undertail. Once you hit bottom out, just a slight bit more and it's done. And there it is. Now our undertail's in, and we'll go on to the adjustment procedure for the license plate bracket. Using our 4mm Allen wrench, I'm going to lock this thing in sort of where I think the good position is for my liking. This will not be final. This is just for the purpose of adjusting the flat bracket center-wise and level-wise here. I'm just going to scoot it left or right, depending on what it needs to get it centered. And lock down on these connections here using my 3mm Allen and 8mm box wrench. Now, this is theoretically where I like it to hang, but we won't really know until we get a license plate on it. So I'm gonna grab my fender that I removed in prior steps, remove the license plate and the hardware that was used to hold the license plate on. Now, we do not provide license plate holding hardware for your license plate in these setups by default. We do have them available, but most people already have hardware, so it's sort of redundant. So we'll just make use of whatever came on the bike. All right, so now we have the chance to fine tune the angle of the license plate location here. It's pretty much whatever is up to your liking. I like it right about here. Tighten it down real good. Make sure it doesn't vibrate out from road vibration. And then pretty much good to go. I'm gonna reassemble everything in the reverse order of disassembly here. Before I do that, I wanted to mention that if you're running a license plate light setup here, if it's our low profile license plate light, it'll mount between the license plate and its bracket. And we do have a hole center provided in this undertail that you will need to drill out if you're running any wires through here for license plate light or signals. We did capture that detail in our previous video, so if you are running any electrical components on this assembly, please watch those videos. They will be linked. They're also available on our website and our YouTube channel. So all that being said, let's reassemble everything and finish up. So because of the fact that we run our video production modular and we're focusing really only on the Fender Eliminator installation in this video, we'll just close this all back up and return it to its original shape before we started. And we'll shoot other videos to illustrate the installation of our integrated taillight, signals, license plate light, all separately. You guys can access those videos on our channel. So now I'm just going to put the sheath in place here, the manner in which it gets installed. We are prepping this bike for our integrated taillight installation a little bit later. So we'll start back up from this point. All right, so that was pretty quick and painless. Took about 15 minutes and produced these great results. Hope you guys agree with me. Now the bike looks proper. It's sleek and sexy and very race bike-like. So if you like what you see here, come to tstindustries.com, check out all the parts we have for this bike. If you can't find the video specific to the 2019 Plus model yet, check out the 2015 Plus videos. More than likely, they are going to pertain to this model as well. We're going to try to shoot more videos on this particular model, but in the meantime, you can check out the first gen videos and get help on how to install our products there. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.